I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through. I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for pole day qualifying from the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. As this week, it's just the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers getting ready to take to this flat, low-banked mile racetrack. This will complete the quadfecta, if you will, of the mile racetracks we have run at this portion of the season. We had Hillside, we had Iowa. Last week, we were at the Chicago Motor Speedway. We cap it off here with New Hampshire. A lot of storylines coming out of Chicago Motor Speedway. We now have 2 3-time winners on the season. Destin Bolin now joining Carson Gum. We'll cover a lot more of those stories here as we begin knockout qualifying with the first session with the go or go home drivers. I believe there are 6 drivers vying for only 2 available spots here this weekend. As we look at the Bishop Family Racing entry, Mike Tellier making his way out onto the racetrack. Mike so far only 1 start this season. Very limited schedule that he runs here this season in Duracell Cup Series competition. He started 20th, finished 25th in his first start this year. Former winner in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series going back to season 5 and looking to qualify into this weekend's race. An expedited 5 minutes on the clock. Mike has set down a warm-up lap time. No official lap time has been set, but only a minute and a half, a little less than a minute and a half left. We got Nathan Fogler, another driver that's running a very limited part-time schedule here on the Cup Series side. Full-time driver in the Lights Series, as is Mike Tellier, but with no lights running for the next couple of weeks. Lights drivers opportunity to be able to try and qualify for a couple of cup races. Nathan Fogler is still looking to make his Duracell Next Gen Cup Series debut. Could it be this weekend at New Hampshire? Kyle Langland, another great showing for him last week as he qualified into his 4th start on the season already. I mean, look at the numbers that Langland's put up here. 4 starts, 2 finishes inside of the top 5, an average finishing position of 10th in 4 starts. I think this guy's ready to come up to the Cup Series next season. He's doing really well down in the Light Series also. Hiccup Bush making his way out onto the racetrack. Has attempted the last couple of weeks at both Iowa and Chicago to qualify into the field. Has come up short both times. Hoping 3rd time is the charm here this afternoon as he heads out on the track with a little over 2 minutes remaining. Autumn Brooks saw her last week upside down over in turn 1 in what was her 11th start of the season. Looking to qualify her way into start number 12. And there is the 6th driver. I thought we had 6 entries here in the go or go home category. Bryce Egan, who we saw failed to qualify for the Cup Series race last week, but has made back-to-back starts in the Light Series. And now looking to get back to Cup Series racing here, looking to make his 11th start on the season. Right now, scoring has Kyle Langland top of the board at a 30.386. Mike Tellier just behind at a 30.535. Nathan Fogler, Autumn Brooks, the only 2 other drivers so far to have put down lap times. Looks like Langland may rest on this 30.3 as he's coming to pit road. With over a minute left, I don't think there's enough time to go back out there and set down another lap. Improvement by Mike Tellier, still second on the board at a 30.474. So that is the lap time everybody else is chasing to advance in. 30.7 for Bryce Egan, 30.5 for Hiccup Bush. Fogler is third, just on the outside looking in at a 30.5 as well. And Autumn Brooks just jumped to a low 30.5, up to third place, but still about 5/100ths off of the 4.7 laid down by Mike Tellier. Langland just got dropped from top of the board. Bryce Egan is the fastest in New Hampshire. 30.281, and I'm not sure anybody's going to beat that lap time. I say that, and somebody just did. Who was it? It was Autumn Brooks, 30.237. With 10 seconds remaining, that drops Egan down onto the hot seat. Brooks the fastest, Egan second fastest. Can anybody else break into the 30.2s? We'll follow the 9, keep an eye on his lap time and his positioning. He's still second. He just dropped a third. Who leapfrogged him? It was Hiccup Bush at a 30.275. Looking to make his Duracell Next Gen Cup Series debut this weekend. Can Hiccup Bush hang on? Autumn Brooks, I think, is safe. Hiccup Bush is on the hot seat. His lap time just got beat. Bryce Egan just went to top of the board. Now Autumn Brooks is on the hot seat. I said she was safe. Apparently that's not the case. Her lap time not counted. I think time has ended. I think lap times are no longer being scored. And Bryce Egan clocking in at a 30.199. Just eclipses into the ones. We'll have the fastest lap in the session. Brooks will be second, and there you go. Session is complete. A last-minute snipe by Bryce Egan. He will make his 11th start on the season. Autumn Brooks will make her 12th. They will get the 2 final spots in the field here this week. Just missing out 400ths, less than 400ths for Hiccup Bush. Mike Tellier, Nathan Fogler, all looking to make the field, will come up short, and Kyle Langland, who has been really good in qualifying the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. He is going to be the slowest, not a bad lap, a 30.386, but he will be the slowest of the 6 here in Go or Go Home qualifying. So Egan and Brooks will be the 2 Go or Go Home representatives in the field this weekend at the Magic Mile. That was with 6 drivers on the racetrack, and that top position kept jumping back and forth, drivers dropping onto that hot seat in the matter of a couple of seconds. Imagine what it's going to be like here in the upcoming second round of qualifying with 42 hungry drivers out on a congested racetrack. That's going to be coming up here in just a minute. We run for the pole here at New Hampshire right after this commercial break. Round 2 of qualifying coming up here on NNSCRA TV. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. All right, gearing up for round number 2. Find out who's going to capture the pole position. So far this season, we have only had 3 drivers capture the pole twice, which means we have had a total of 15 different pole sitters during the course of the first 18 races. Will we get a 16th different pole sitter here this weekend? And I'm not even going to, in the first 5, maybe even the first 8 minutes of this 10-minute qualifying session, I'm not even going to try and keep track of who's top of the board, because I feel like what we saw just moments ago in that first round of qualifying, that number 1 position is going to change hands numerous times. Anthony McCrory going to be the first one out on the racetrack, and Anthony had a really good run last week. Was top 10 pretty much the entirety of the day. at the Chicago Motor Speedway. The problem for him was, though he is mired so down in points, it did not change his fortunes and did not advance him any higher in the current standings. He entered that race 39th in points. He exited 39th in points. Granted, he is closer to a lot of drivers ahead of him in the standings now. His gap to the cut line, 30th in the standings, has now been cut down to 25 points, but still a lot of work to do for that team out of the Garage 55 Mazda camp. So we'll start bringing up the ticker here. I don't believe we've got really any official lap times that have clocked in just yet. Let's drop back to the hottest driver right now in Duracell Cup Series competition. That's the now three-time winner, Destin Bolin. Qualified well last week at Chicago, outside front row. He led the most laps, en route to his third victory of the season, and with that victory, he would easily be the number one seed in the wildcard conversation, but he's not, because he picked up 5 spots in the standings, is 9th in overall points coming to this one, so he is in a points-paying position right now as far as the playoffs are concerned. Right now, he is second on the board as well. Looking good here, at least in the early going. Another driver that had a great run last week, Charles Sanford. Top 5 run. Best run we've seen out of Charles for quite a while. And that run for Charles helped propel him in the point standings from 32nd to 25th. So the former champion, if we were to find victory lane here tomorrow afternoon, we would start talking about him in the wild card category. A lot of drivers actually this past weekend ended up moving themselves up into the top 30 in the standings. Nathan Norman's back in the top 30 in points now, so his victory at Manassas currently counts towards a wild card spot. Benjamin Snyder moved back into the top 30. Daniel Voiles, Charles Sanford, number of drivers managed to now put themselves above that 30th in the standings cut line. Now they are looking for consistency to stay ahead of set cut line, also looking for a victory to secure themselves a spot potentially in a wild card position. Eric Monaco now on the clock. A couple of the Blue Oval Automotive cars had some good runs last week. Zachary Fitzwater and Benjamin Snyder. Just talked about Snyder working his way back into the top 30 in the standings. And last week was an interesting race as far as the points lead is concerned, because we saw Levi McIntyre have a mechanical problem. A tire issue is what we have been told, a tire malfunction. He DNF'd the race. Carson Gum ended up losing a lap, got it back under green flag conditions, worked his way up to finish in, I think it was inside of the top 20. I think he finished 17th. Alexander Rowe was caught up in a wreck, and he managed to mount a comeback as well. Because of that, the top 3 in points are separated coming into this weekend by only 10 points. 3 points back Carson Gum, 10 points back Alexander Rowe. This is a racetrack, though, for those that are interested in knowing, that Levi McIntyre, the points leader, has previously won at. As, Benjamin Snyder, gosh, he went down, got the inside wall, comes back up, gets both Alexander Rowe and Jessica Shelton. And somehow he keeps going. Shelton's certainly going to have some damage here. 10th on the speed charts. Remember, no backup cars. Where you are at the end of qualifying is where you will start. Whether you go to a backup car or not, you do not lose your starting position. But that might be something to keep an eye on here tomorrow afternoon. It is clear this afternoon at New Hampshire. The sun beating down this racetrack, so it is slick. And it almost looked like Ben got really loose there off of turn 4. Well, Levi McIntyre, mentioned a former winner at this racetrack, and right now we're not seeing very good speed out of that new Tella Ford Mustang. 40th on the speed charts currently, which would start him very deep in the field. And New Hampshire is usually one of those racetracks that track position is very important. By the way, if I can find him on the track here, I want to give a shout out to a driver from last week. There he is, Daniel Voiles. Because I looked, when I was going through the starting lineup and getting all the stats and everything when I was editing last week's race, Daniel Voiles finished in the top 5. He started in the final row. Chicago Motor Speedway is not an easy racetrack to pick up track position, and somehow he managed to do that. Very, very impressive run by Daniel Voiles, following up an equally impressive run that he had the week before at Iowa. That's why Daniel Voiles, a driver who at one point was outside of the top 30 in the stands, and we were talking about him potentially not having his Sonoma victory count towards a playoff spot. He's a driver now that is 23rd in points and continuing to gain spots every single week. Speaking of Carson Gum, he's 8th on the board right now. After that comeback run last week, I mean, he was pretty much slated to finish 34th, 35th if he had stayed a lap down, and he was able to finish inside of the top 20, 17th place. Very impressive run there for Carson Gum. That's why he's only 3 points out of the points lead coming into this weekend's race. Well, we got a little more than 3 minutes on the clock. Do I dare talk about the fastest driver on the charts right now? Driver that really needs some momentum here too. He was the one driver out of Blue Oval Automotive that struggled last week, finished off of the lead lap. Trying to find him here, the Busch Gardens Ford. There he is, Caleb Fogler, the former champion. 30.163. That's about, what, 300ths faster than the lap time that Bryce Egan put down in the Go or Go Home qualifying session earlier on. And right now, he'd be en route to capturing the pole position. Would he be a new pole sitter? Yes, he would. Has not gotten a pole yet here in Season 8. Quentin Moore, who's just a couple cars behind him, currently with the second fastest lap time at a 30.198. With Nathan Ormond, Benjamin Miles, and last week's winner, Dustin Bolin, the current top 5. Starting to see lap times tapering off here. The track obviously very congested with all 42 cars out here putting down lap times. I'm not going to say it, but I would assume that that 30.163 is safe for Fogler. I thought that, though, in knockout qualifying. I thought Autumn Brooks was safe. She wasn't. I thought Bryce Egan was safe. He almost wasn't. So I'm not going to say absolutely that any of these drivers are safe. Matt Haas, we saw him last week, well, actually 2 weeks ago I should say, work his way back up into the top 10 in points. Both his victories at super speedways this season, including the season opening Daytona 500. Gained another couple of spots last week. Now 8th in the standings coming into this one. Connor Breton, a 2-time winner on the year. Nick Gunther dropped out of the top 10 last week. Comes into this one now 13th in points. The top 10 in the standings coming into this week currently would be Levi McIntyre, Carson Gum, Alexander Rowe, Ryan Brommer, James Qualls, then Jack Mitchell, Eric Sadler, Matt Haas, Destin Boland, and Michael Norman right now has the final and 10th position. We're looking at RJ Bishop. He moved up 5 spots in the standings after another great run last week off the heels of his victory at Iowa. He is 12th in overall points and right now would be in the second wildcard seed as 3-time winners Carson Gum and Dustin Boland are in the top 10 and 2-time winner Matt Haas is in the top 10. So Connor Breton right now, the only 2-time winner outside the top 10, would have the number 1 wildcard spot. Then 1-time winners RJ Bishop, Daniel Voiles, Nathan Ormond would have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th wildcard spots. Keith Batson has dropped out of the top 30, so he is not in a wildcard position right now. We'll keep tabs on that 39 card during the course of tomorrow afternoon's race, which means that there are 2 spots up for grabs for the drivers highest in the point standings without a win. Matt McIntyre 11th in points, Nick Gunther now 13th in points, would be those 2 drivers. Really surprised for Matt McIntyre that he is still 11th in points. Did not have a good run last week at Chicago at all. Looking for Caleb Fogler. Zeros on the clock. Looks like he is going to become our 16th different pole sitter on the season. Needing momentum after the tough break he had last week at Chicago. He'll have good starting track position for tomorrow afternoon's race. Not much really changed up there inside of the top 5. We had maybe one last-minute addition in the final 5 minutes, but the top 4 pretty much remained the same from about halfway through this session to the conclusion. Fogler and Moore going to get the front row. Nathan Orman just missed out in the front row by 1,000th of a second. He'll be back in row 2 with Benjamin Miles. Autumn Brooks was the one that broke into the top 5 late, bettering Destin Bolin, so she'll be on the inside of row 3 with Bolin to the outside. Jack Mitchell, good lap there. Our winner from Phoenix, so this track might be somewhat similar in terms of the banking, especially when you consider the banking at Phoenix over in 3 and 4, if we're talking about the old conventional layout of the racetrack. Jesse Turner will share row number 4 with Mitchell, and then Connor Breton and Dylan Poteet will complete the top 10. Poteet just looking for something. That team has really struggled here the last couple of weeks. Carson Gum, Levi McIntyre. How apropos that the drivers that are separated by 3 points in the overall standings are going to start in the same row together in row number 6 and 11th and 12th place. Where is Alexander Rowe going to start? Looks like he is way down on the speed charts. He is going to start this race from 29th. So nowhere close right now to McIntyre and Gum. We're going to talk a lot about that regular season championship down this home stretch. That's 15 bonus points. That equates to 3 victories during the regular season for the regular season champion. It almost all but guarantees you the number 1 seed when the playoff points are put together. And you look at the slower drivers here on the speed charts. Some pretty big names up there in the point standings are fighting for wild card spots. James Qualls, top 5 in the standings, 35th is where he'll start. A far cry from the pole he got last week. Charles Sanford, after the great run he had last week, 34th. RJ Bishop, not much better, in 33rd. Trying to make his way into the top 10 in points, currently in a wild card spot. You got Keith Batson, who's trying to get back in the top 30 in the standings for his win to count towards a playoff spot. He's starting out back in 40th. And Daniel Voiles, who a couple of weeks ago worked his way back into the top 30. We just talked about the good momentum he's been on. Was able to pass a lot of cars, though, last week at Chicago. He started out back there and finished up inside the top 5. Could he do it for a second straight week, as he will roll off from the 41st position? But that's the way that they're going to line up here for tomorrow afternoon's race from New Hampshire. Hope you guys enjoyed today's qualifying session. If you did, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We're showing your starting lineup. We'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Just the Cup drivers here this weekend at New Hampshire. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the green flag will fly for race number 19 on the season. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.